Good evening, peeps. My name is Scripps, and welcome back to another Speed Paint, the series that I definitely need another name for because pretty much every single art video that I do is a speed paint because, it takes a long time to draw, so any video that's about 10 minutes that's up on the channel that's art related should probably be a speed paint by default. So I'm just gonna call it art videos or something from now on. Good evening, peeps, and welcome back to another art-related video. Remember how in the last episode I actually said that I was kind of ashamed that I couldn't do more than one drawing in one video, and I kind of wanted to do more. I wanted to be able to draw a lot faster, and I wanted to fit a lot more characters onto the screen at once. Remember how I said that? Well, today we're going in the complete opposite direction. We're not doing any sort of creative work like I usually do. We're not doing character designs like I usually do. Today we're doing pure imitation. And I know that imitation can be a little boring. It's a little boring to just watch someone try to draw what's already existing. It's more fun to see someone in the creation process, or at least that's my opinion. So I decided to spice it up a bit. I decided to add some salt and pepper to this challenge. And since we're doing something Hollow Knight related, I thought to myself, I've drawn a lot of main characters and a lot of main bosses, but what about the little people? What about the other guys out there? What about the enemies? So I decided, you know what? I'm going to Google Hollow Knight enemies, and then under the main content tab, I'm gonna draw every enemy that's under that list. And that is... hold on, let me count. That is roughly 130 to 150 characters in one big drawing. So you're gonna have to excuse me if I, on just this one day with like, I don't know, I think it was 2 to 3 hours to spare, if you're gonna have to excuse me if I didn't color or do line art for every single one of them. I'm sorry, but I don't think you really get that, I don't wanna do that. Oh god, if I had to do like precise line art for that, it would take so long. But yeah, except that, then I actually also did decide to add another little thing to the mix, which was that I was kinda gonna be drawing them from memory. I did use the wiki list, but on the wiki list there's these small little portraits, and those are actually the only thing that I used to kind of like refresh my memory. So sorry if some of the designs are kind of look weird or something. That's because I'm actually also simultaneously doing a kinda semi-drawing from memory challenge, I guess. As if drawing 130 characters isn't freaking hard enough, Scripps. But yeah, of course I should be mentioning the obvious things and some things that you'll probably notice about this drawing very quickly. This list does not include any sort of NPC or that's not true. It does include some bigger bosses, and some of these bosses you might interact with. I don't remember, I actually don't have the drawing here right now, so I can't tell you. But I did draw most of the characters that were just on the mob list. It's actually sort of a fauna list more than like an enemy list, because I want to draw basically every single living creature in the Kingdom of Hollownest, and by doing so, then that actually also means that I skip past a few different enemies that are basically the same and look very much alike. And I didn't just do that because there were some rules I set for myself in the beginning. That's sort of also something that I just started to drift into as the challenge moved on. Because, doing a large-scale drawing like this, it's a freaking war effort. I can tell you, it's a war effort. So I just started cutting corners wherever I could, and drawing basically the same character with some minor twists over it is not something that I wanted to do. For example, a good example of this would be the infected crossroads. A lot of the enemies are basically exactly the same, but they just have like an infected difference to them, and I didn't want to draw every single character just infected over again, so I just decided to, turn it into faunae and then just draw the characters, or draw the species of bugs that exist in the kingdom. This does, however, also mean that I did leave out all of the dream characters, and basically all the dream bosses and stuff that you fight, and then once again all the dream characters. The reason being that if I were to draw not only the dream bosses, but also every single one of those Patreon Kickstarter backer character designs that are in that Hall of Fame place, then I'd simply get carpal tunnel syndrome, and I don't want that. I want to draw for many years more. Okay, but anyways, at this point of the video, you should probably be able to tell that I'm starting to slow down in my drawing. Like, just throughout the speed paint, you should notice that either I'm getting more choppy or like quick with my designs. They turn out worse, and I just move on to the next one without really correcting anything. That's because you can really like start to tell how much of a war effort it is to keep this going. And I mean, it is an exercise after all. It's absolutely not my favorite way of drawing or my preferred way of drawing. I prefer to create stuff. I'm sort of a creator. I like being creative and create stuff all the way from the bottom. I do like creating stuff that can fit into other universes and see how well I can understand a universe from like a visual perspective, I guess. But yeah, that's my preferred way of drawing. You guys might be different, But now having explained that, then it shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone when I say that going through this entire list, slowly making my way through and just, you know, switching character design constantly without really getting much creative input, it's quite the tedious process. So you know, while I would usually beat myself over the head for not being, you know, as thorough with these designs, then I understand myself and my preference for drawing well enough to understand that, you know, that maybe that's just not my way of drawing, and maybe exactly this type of challenge isn't something that I should be doing again. Or maybe I want to do this sort of challenge again where I do like big drawings. That's not what I'm saying, but just that I shouldn't do it all in one sitting and with only like a couple of hours to spare, so I need to rush through it all. But I guess that's just an important lesson to pretty much any artist out there watching. If you feel that you have one preferred way of drawing, and I'm not talking about style or anything, but just something that you prefer to draw, remember that that is like something that you should do. You shouldn't only stick to exercises, but you should also be kind of like incorporating that love and passion you have for art into your exercises to like keep it fun, you know. I do not want to think about how I would think of YouTube these days if I only did it as a chore and I actually didn't do any of the things that I like to do. So yeah, definitely get your passion into it, because that's the only way you're gonna keep moving forward. But anyway, after that short little life productivity art lesson, I guess, then I guess it's time to say goodbye for this video. I am done. This weekend has been harsh on my body and my bones, and I don't know why. I've basically been sitting in my room all by myself, but I've been having some serious like a creative block with content. I bet you can also see that in a bunch of my videos lately, and it really upsets me because I want to be productive. But at the same time, you know, I don't really have many ideas for what to do, so it's these crazy challenges and sort of, I guess, repetitive content with these speed paints at this point that I end up making. And I'm very sorry about that, but as I keep reminding you guys, exams are knocking at my door, so that's kind of why I don't really have the time to spare, or at least that I have too much time to spare thinking of videos. And the fact that there's no games or anything that I can play or anything, and that there's no content out there that's popular to make, there's no trend that I can jump along on, there's no interesting art phenomenon or anything I can talk about, nothing is happening. I'm in the middle of a drought. And it's pretty bad for YouTubers, but that's YouTube complaining, and that's not something you need to hear about. I'm just kind of updating you guys. I'm working on it, and hopefully, you know, I'll reach some pinnacle idea, and I'll be able to bless you guys with good content once again. Or, well, I mean, not that my content was ever good, you know what I mean, but I'll try. I sure am trying. But yeah, except for that, thank you guys so much for watching, thank you guys so much for putting up with my bullshit during these trying times, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.